Hey, all, how you doing? It's I don't think we've ever done this before. It's 6:15 in the morning here, and I figured we would throw together a little special segment for Hurricane Hermine here, which is moving on shore, already a little ways inland. Let me make sure I got the name on that correct. I haven't looked at too many bulletins, to tell you the truth. Yeah, it's Hermine. It's a tropical storm there. I just pulled up the radar when I was in bed there, and I was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. So let's check this out. Anyway, you can see the center of the circulation right there is near Valdosta, Georgia, and that's moving to the northeast. Kind of a slow drift there. And you can see most of the rain bands are out ahead of it, and we've got this dry slot working in the backside. What are the wind velocities like? Well, the best thing we should do is go to the METAR observations, and I've plotted the 7 a.m. Eastern data here. And you can see a very important thing is I've plotted the gusts. You see those on the right side of the plot. These are in knots. So if you want to get miles an hour, you have to multiply times 1.15. And there's a trick that I use. All you have to do is, like, see this 36 here? If you want miles an hour, you move the decimal place over and you get 3.6, and then you take half of that. What's half of 3.6? That's 1.8. So you add that to the 3.6, which is 5.4, or we can just say 5, and then you add that to the value that it shows. So 36 plus 5 is 41. So that's a very quick and dirty way of getting miles an hour. So I think that's the highest gust I'm seeing. No, there's a 39 right here at the station. So that's going to be about 46 miles an hour or so. And sustained winds, that's on the shaft of that plot. So 25 gusting to about 45. So strongest winds are on the east side. Got to keep in mind that the center of the circulation is about right here. I really need to get my I've got a Wacom tablet. I should start getting that hooked up because I'm just drawing with a mouse here. But the forward speed here combined with the wind field naturally gives us the strongest wind flows on the right side of the track. And they tend to be less on the left side because the storm motion is subtracted out. So the highest winds we're getting on this other side is only gusts to about 35 or so. Now this just popped into my head. There's one source of data that we can use. That's Weather Underground. They've got a little network system of personal weather stations. The quality is very hit or miss because there's no, you might have anemometers just sitting on top of people's chimneys and that kind of thing, so they're not ideal. Let's see, how are we going to get to this? I think we need to plug in a location, so let me put in Valdosta, Georgia. And I think from there it'll break out the map. So we're going to stick Valdosta in there and look for anything that looks like a... Yeah, see, now I'm remembering it's called the Wonder Map. So are they giving it? Yeah, that's the link right there. So at the very top right of the page, just click on that. And it pulls up that plot of the radar here. Let me move this over so you can see a little bit better. And we click on the weather stations. See, there's a box right here. It says weather stations, and they give us different parameters we can look at. So what we'll look at is the temperature and the wind. And right there it brings up a a plot of the wind field, so we can go down a little bit closer and kind of identify right down to the county where the center is. And you can see that the data quality is not ideal. This one's a little ways off from the prevailing wind field. Let me see if I can get that zoomed in just right. So you're going to get kind of a hit or miss quality. See, here's a calm wind. There's probably an anemometer that's not hooked up right. But you can kind of see the general circulation here, and that pretty much pins us down to whatever county this is. Turn down the opacity a little bit. South of Willacoochee. Whatever it is, it's west of Waycross there. I guess between Waycross and Tifton, that's where the center is. We can check that out on GR level 2. Let's do that real quick. So here's what we're looking at on the radar presentation, and not a whole lot of intense activity. It looks like the dry air is starting to take its toll on this system. Clouds are topping out at about, about 29,000 feet. So it's kind of a shallow system there. And we can run the animation, and that will also pin down where the center of the circulation is. And it looks like it's kind of like right in this area here. So it is scooting on off to the northeast, and what can we expect today? I have pulled up the... Actually, I think I lost it. I had the rapid refresh model. Let me stick that in. Rapid refresh is a mesoscale model. It's run every hour. And we can take a look at this to kind of get an idea of what the maximum winds are going to be as this moves into the Carolinas. So I'm going to look through this list here and pick on 10 meter wind gust. And I'll wait a few seconds for that to load. And that's pretty far out. I'm going to want to zoom in on the southeastern domain. See, there's a little checkbox or a little drop-down box I used, and I set that on southeast. And once I do that, I click on the wind gust again, 10 meter wind gust. And there we go. There's our projected maximum gust wind field. We can see that that's in knots. See at the very top here. So what do we got here? Let's back this up to the first frame. 11Z. So we've got a few hits here of 55 knots out in the ocean waters and just east of Tallahassee. And as we move forward, it looks like the strongest winds are offshore where there's the least friction. So it's got a few gusts here of 60 knots, which is going to be about 70 miles an hour. But once you get inland, the friction dies down quite a bit. So you're looking at more like 30 to 40 miles an hour. And here we've got this little pink area, which is 40 knots. So that's going to be 46 miles an hour. So there you go. You can kind of see the center of the circulation right there. So what I'm seeing from this is there's still some gusts of about 50 miles an hour along the coastal regions. And inland looks like about 30 to 40 miles an hour, and then there's some higher gusts just to the left of the storm track, what we got there. Okay, and let's check out the track of the storm itself. I'm going to change this to a slightly earlier hour, 8Z. I'm going to pick up the, where's the surface pressure? So many options here. I'm running a little bit slow because I haven't even gone to bed yet. I'm kind of on a very late schedule here. Sea level pressure, where did that go? I know some of you are probably seeing this. Well, I'll use the search option here. There's pressure change. For whatever reason, I'm just not seeing it here. But what we can do is we can just pick the wind field. You know, that'll work for now. Because the wind field should very clearly delineate where the center of the circulation is. So this has given us out to about 21 hours in the future, see. So what do we have going on? 8 a.m. It's got the center of the circulation right about here, north of Valdosta. And then as we get up to this evening, 0Z 8 p.m., we've got the center just north of Charleston, South Carolina, so right there. And sustained winds are up to 40 knots just off the coast, and along the coastal areas, sustained winds of about 30. So that's going to be about 35, 40 miles an hour along the coastal regions. And then by tomorrow morning, looking at North Carolina. So it's still holding together a pretty decent wind field since it's still pulling in a lot of inflow from the ocean waters, but it's really scraping along there due to friction effects, and that should definitely keep it in the tropical storm or lesser categories there. So anyway, that's what I got here. I just kind of wanted to pull up a quick impromptu forecast discussion, because as our patterns get more active this fall, I'm going to probably start doing that a little bit more. Anyway, I'll see you back at the usual time, 8 p.m. This evening, 8 p.m. Central, and we'll see what we got going on with the storm. All right. Night-night or good morning. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.